Okay, let's see. Looks like we're live. Got a little bit of a lag going on here. Here we go. Okay. God, it's been a while. How's everybody doing? God, I don't even know how many months it's been. It's been several since we've done a live stream. So, um, and I didn't do our normal intro for this one. That's what threw me off because I was normally doing the intro. But it took me a good long while to get the camera and everything set up again. I'm using a different camera than I was before. So um, we have the world famous rattlesnake coffee cup out tonight, which is, of course, going with me. God, guys, there's just been so much stuff going on the last few months. And I thought it was a really good time to just get together, do a live stream, let everybody know what's going on. Um, there's been some bad stuff, and there's been some good stuff going on. And actually, I hope everybody can hear me okay. I hope the audio is not jacked up at all. Um, again, like I said, a little different setup than I had before. So let me know if the audio sounds kind of weird. There's a couple different settings on the shotgun mic I can use. Too much gain in the audio. Let's see. Okay, let me know if that's any better. I may actually turn the audio on just to see. Okay. Sounds like it's doing a little bit. I didn't hear it before, but it sounds like it's okay now. Okay, cool. Outstanding. Thanks for that. Definitely don't want to have the audio all jacked up the whole time. It's hard to say how long we're going to be on here shooting the shit tonight, but God, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So it'll probably be a minute. And it's kind of funny too. You can see my shotgun mic looks kind of beat up. This is the same one that I have attached to my camera when I'm out doing a wildlife photography. So this thing has seen more time in the woods and briars and bushes than most human beings have. So let's see who all is with us tonight. Sam is here, man. I see all these names, man. I haven't seen him in forever. Good to see you. My mother is here. Good to see you. Christina and Rachel. Hello. Erica is with us. Let's see. Okay. And Nicole. Yeah, I know. Nicole says she's missed the live streams. I've heard that from so many people, man. We got into that habit of being on here regardless every Saturday night. And just being on, talk about snakes, talk about whatever. And God, when was it? It had to have been. See, this is July, so I think maybe the last one was in January, February, March, January-ish, something like that. It's hard to believe it's been 6 months already. But yeah, a lot of stuff has happened since then. God, I don't even know where to start. My autofocus wants to get squirrely every time I sit back, so I guess I can't. Where to start? I guess I'll start from where we're at today. A lot of you guys already know that I've been in the process now for a month or two of rehoming all of the reptiles. We're just about done with that process. I have 5 left here at the house. It's not counting the ones that are being shipped out Monday. Monday, I'm going to be shipping the Jag Pondro out to one person. And then the 2 ball pythons and a jungle carpet python are going to be going to another person Monday. After that, the only animals that are going to be here are my 16-foot male retic, my 18-foot female retic, 10-foot orange glow phantom retic, and Niles. and Bob, of course. But I have plans for Bob. I'm still trying to get all of the rest of these guys sold. Um, in a perfect world, if I was in a position to, I would, donate these things to people that do educational work. But situation being what it is, I am making a pretty big move. Um, a lot of you guys know I'm in central North Carolina right now, and I am moving to the Yellowstone area, effective in a couple weeks. So, um, huge, huge life change. Um, I have a place to stay not too far from Jackson Hole, which is um, right there at Grand Teton, and just south of Yellowstone. And Grand Teton sits right here, and then up above it is the Yellowstone area. But got a place to stay lined up, got the deposit put down on that, and I have um, a job lined up out there. I'm going to be leading tours through the parks, and that starts about the middle of August. So I'm getting out there a couple weeks early so that I can really get a good handle on the area. And yeah, I've been spending a lot of time here, kind of reading up and studying um, the geography and history and all of this other stuff out there. And hopefully these tours will involve a lot of the wildlife photography stuff. I'd really like to specialize in, once I get familiarized with the area out there and see where all the animals are at. Um, I think that's something that would be really cool, is to just take a whole group of photographers out, pick a spot, lead tours like that. Um, but we'll see. This is something that's uh, it's going to be really cool. It's going to be a really awesome environment. And on my off days, it's going to be nothing but me out in the wilderness, doing nature and wildlife photography and cinematography. Um, I really want to work on uh, some other conservation issues out there, especially like the biggest issue that's going on right now is there's talk about privatizing the federal lands out there to some degree. And we all know that's excuse me, it's a byproduct of the crazy situation that the country is in right now. But it's still something that needs to be fought, um, tooth and nail, to avoid. Yellowstone. For those of you guys that don't know, I mean, Yellowstone is the first national park in the world. Of course, the first one in the country as well, and it's one of the last functioning ecosystems of its nature. It's like 2 million square acres or something like that. Um, it's just a massive place. It's one of the few places where you're going to find, wild grizzly bears and black bears, wolves and coyotes, and foxes, elk and bison. All of these animals that used to be widespread across the country. This is like their last haven for these guys. Plus, it's some of the most beautiful landscape in the world, some of the most unique geological features and things like that. Um, so from a photography perspective, I'm so looking forward to getting out there and getting started. Um, you guys know that here a while back, over a year ago, really started digging in hard um, to the wildlife photography. And if you've been following us on Facebook, you know that it's been awesome, and the quality of work that I've been able to achieve in some of these things, I'm really happy with. So, and that's all kind of isolated out here in central North Carolina, where there's not a whole lot. I mean, we've done a lot with a little bit out here, and when we're in an area like Yellowstone and Grand Teton, man, I'm so looking forward to it. But and everything kind of came about um, when I stepped back from the channel. Yeah, there's so many different aspects to it, and it's kind of hard to go into all of them at the same time. But for those of you guys that have been following for a long time, I don't breed any snakes. I don't sell any snakes. And I don't do anything exceptionally dramatic on the channel or anything like that. So, as far as making any kind of an income off of these animals, it's all a matter of me just, keeping them, paying for cleaning materials, paying for food. I haven't charged anything for any of the educational events that we do because, my goal is not to cash in on that. My goal is to get out and educate folks, and I want to make it as accessible and as easy as possible. Putting any kind of a financial barrier in there for something like that, it's just not something I want to do. And I haven't. But the flip side of that is that, the whole process is an expense at that point. You make a little bit off the ad revenue off of YouTube and stuff like that, but it's by no means at this level enough to survive on. So that means day job, and being out here, the day jobs that I've taken, they just do not leave me the time or the energy to really invest in the animals the way they deserve, and to also contribute time to the channel and to continue putting out videos and things like that. It's it hasn't afforded me an opportunity to follow through with the original plan. When I started this channel, I wasn't planning on being here that long. I had planned on going out, getting a bigger place, getting a setup where I could, improve the quality of enclosures and the size of the area, and have a spot set aside to where I could bring people over and do handling, coaching, and stuff like that, all right there. It was kind of separate from the living area, and really do a lot more with it. That hasn't come to fruition for a number of reasons, but it's gotten to the point where the animals and the work on the channel was just, not getting the attention that it deserved because of what I had to do to keep a roof over my head and keep the bills paid. And honestly, it's the day job was just breaking my spirit. Just going out and doing work for somebody else and ignoring everything that I'm passionate about, not only all day long while I'm working, but not having the energy to pursue any of my other passions outside of that. And it's no way to live. I'm 52 years old. I've got 10, 20 years of ambulatory time left where I can still get out in the woods and walk around and do stuff and, hike mountains, things like that. Painful as that still is anyway. But so I had a really tough call to make. Do I completely burn myself out doing that and trying to maintain this aspect of my life, or do I make a change? And after about a couple months ago, 2-3 months ago, it just really hit me. And I knew that I had the skill set. I've got the skill set and I've got the equipment to do something with this photography and go out and make a difference. There's more opportunities to, go out and make art, sell that, tell stories, just like we do with the U.S. Art alerts and things like that regarding the reptiles. Every time reptile bans and things like that come up, we'd get on and we would, talk about it. We generate support, get people writing letters, make phone calls, stuff like that. But there's more animals out there that need our attention than just reptiles. Over the course of the last 4 years that we've been doing the channel, we've hit every major event. But that's kind of another thing too. with the type of content that I put out, I've got 3 solid years of content talking about snake behavior and handling snakes, and we've talked about everything I think that there is to discuss about snakes, barring things like genetics and stuff like that. Like I said, since I don't breed, I leave all of the mental real estate for genetics to the breeders. Um, but as far as handling them and helping people have good experiences with their animals and stuff, I mean, we've really touched on everything. And there towards the end, I'm trying to come up with ideas for videos, and it's like it's just going to be remaking old content again in the same environment. Um, and I don't want to say that it's a waste of time, but it's not the best use of time. Um, so, um, leaving all of the reptile content up on the channel, of course. So that's still going to be accessible to everybody, and I'm still going to be accessible to folks. At some point, maybe we can, we can still put out videos, maybe on coaching sessions where we do the video coaching sessions with people that are having problems, where we log on and I help observe in real time their snake's behavior and watch how they handle them, and give tips and things like that, uh, to help people do that stuff. But it's it's time to transition over, and I'm really hoping. And I know there's been a lot of anticipation about what's to come, with a lot of folks, as far as the Yellowstone content goes and the nature and wildlife photography and all of that. I really think it's going to be a cool transition. Um, we're going to go from having the giant snakes out and working with them to being out in the woods with the camera, um, capturing grizzlies and wolves and the elk and the bison and the landscape out there, and kind of drawing attention to conservation issues and all that. And so I really want to be working hard on my cinematography skills, and hopefully we get some really cool stories going out there. There's enough going on, and there's um, uh, enough content to be had out there that I think it's going to do really well. And it's going to be really cool being out there and giving people tours of the parks. It's going to help me to learn the area really well. Um, and outside of that, like I said, as soon as I get there, I'm like going to pull in. I'm going to unload the truck and go to sleep. Get up the next morning and start driving around the park. Um, just so that I can start getting my bearings. And of course, camera's going to be out with me. I'm kind of on the fence about how much of the road trip or whatever I'm going to be recording. We may do like some vlog stuff or something like that on the way out, which, I'm sure there'll be plenty of things to talk about or whatever. But most of the drive up until maybe the last 5 hours of it or something like that is going to be not the most scenic in the country. We're going to be going, through the Midwest, through the flattest, most uneventful part of the country. There'll be cornfields and wheat fields and grass fields. And that's about it for about 24, 25 hours, until we start getting into western Montana and the mountains start coming into view. And it's going to be interesting. It's weird because my entire life I've not lived in the same place for more than 2 years, pretty much, ever since I was a kid. Maybe a little exception or something like that when I was up until I was like 8 years old or something. But ever since then, being with the military and then being out and moving around all over the place and doing just a whole myriad of things that I was doing, I never stayed in one place for more than 2 years. And I landed out here in North Carolina, and I've been here going on 10 years now. Which is kind of weird, man. That 10 years just disappeared. I don't know where it went. And there's some good things came out of it, but it's time to move on in that respect. Um, it's God, it's surreal to think that in a couple weeks I'm going to be loading my vehicle up with my camera equipment, computer equipment, my clothes, some tools, and hitting the road. Uh, 2,000 some mile drive out there. And I'd done it once before. I moved from central Indiana out to Phoenix, Arizona, um, which is just about, I think, is about the same distance. But it's going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot of interesting content, really cool stuff coming out of it. Um, let's see. Erica says, Danita couldn't make it. And she says hello. Cool. Let's see. I haven't been keeping up with the chat hardly at all. Rachel says, can't wait to see the wolf content. Yeah, there's there's such a rich history with the wolves out there in Yellowstone. And they were completely exterminated from the park in the 20s. And then I think it was in the 90s, early 90s, maybe mid 90s, something like that. I don't remember the year exactly, where they reintroduced some wolves from Canada, and it completely changed the ecosystem out there. Which is some stuff that we'll go into in future videos when we're talking about that. But there's up in the Lamar Valley, I want to say it's a northeast part of the park up there, huge wolf packs, and you can get out there and really dig deep into their behavior and watch them hunt in real time. And there's a lot of stories to be told about their reintroduction and all of the things that it impacted when they came back out. But there's going to be another interesting dynamic out there too, where a lot of the ranchers out there just completely despise the wolves. So the biologists and ecologists out there all understand the importance of it. The ranchers, all they see is something that's going to be a threat to their livelihood. So it's going to be an interesting balance. It's all stuff that I want to address when I'm out there. I'd love to get out and do interviews with some of these ranchers as well, and just get their perspective on it. Not from a debate standpoint, but just to kind of tell all sides of the story, which I think will be a really interesting time. Cool. Jennifer, how you doing? She's in Sydney. And yeah, that's gonna be cool. I mean, it's there's still gonna be a lot of the folks that have stuck with us, and a lot of friends and everything are still excited to see everything. But there's gonna be it's a different niche, different demographic of folks that will attract to the channel. And I'd really want to moving forward, after the chaos of this move is over with, I'd really like to start doing more live streams and stuff, kind of get back into that Saturday night thing. We'll see how the schedule ends up working out there. Maybe not every week, depending on how things end up coming out in the wash out there. Because I know there's going to be times, like from where I'm going to be staying at to the absolute northern part of the park. It's just so massive out there. It's like a 4-hour drive. Going to take me an hour to get into Jackson Hole area, Grand Tetons, and then there's moving around the park and stuff like that. Going up from the south to the north side of the park, you can literally spend a whole day driving out there, and that's if you don't stop. So there's going to be a lot of times when I'm going to try to, make a drive out part way the night before, find a place to camp or something like that. so that I can, be up before the sun rises and really engage with some of the wildlife out there. Um, not not going out and petting buffaloes type engage. I mean, just getting out and being able to capture them. And that's another thing that I've been spending a whole lot of time working on is learn. I've been out in bear country before out here in eastern North Carolina, hanging out with the black bears, who are so docile. They. The last time I was out there at the Alligator River, photographing the bears, and I was sitting there next to the truck, and a mother brought her cub, like within arm's reach of me, just walking by, checking me out, moving by, absolutely no sign of aggression, no concern. They see so many people out there, but that's something that is it's so dangerous to do in a place like Yellowstone because black bears and grizzly bears are entirely different animals. Um, there hasn't been an unprovoked bear attack in North Carolina history. Um, but bear attacks do happen out in Yellowstone. There's their behaviors so much different because bears tend to be more predatory. Grizzlies tend to be more predatory than black bears are. So, see, I want to stop and say hi to Mike. Hey, man, been a while. He's hopping out for a minute. Oh, he's with US Arc with Vanessa. Okay, awesome. Cool beans, man. Good to see you. I'll be on for a little while yet. But, where was I at? Oh. So I've been spending a lot of time learning bear behavior, studying everything that I can on it, learning about the grizzly attacks, pulling up every video that I can find on grizzly attacks out there in the Yellowstone area, preventative measures, all of this. One thing that that I've done as a result of that is actually went out and picked up a sidearm not too long ago, and I've been running a bunch of rounds through that, getting my marksmanship back up. Picked up a Smith and Wesson 10 millimeter that just to have as a last resort out there should something go wrong. Before I even leave to go out in the woods, I'm gonna have a couple cans of bear spray on me, one in my pack, one accessible. That's another thing that we'll talk about when we get out there is for anybody that's coming out to see the place, being prepared to have animals in your face like that is really important. Learning how to use a bear spray, knowing how to handle it and carry it, and all that stuff. The handgun, of course, is going to be a last resort for me. And everything I've learned about it is that the bear spray is actually more effective than a handgun in most cases. But another thing that I've seen is some of the worst attacks that I've studied out there have been 2 and 3 round attacks, meaning that the bear comes in, it's most of the time you're coming up on them, you're startling them, you're too close to the cubs, you may get too close to a kill that they're defending or something like that, and they charge you. And like the worst attack that I'd seen where the guy lived, he hit it with the bear spray. The bear attacked him, and he got 500 pounds of bear moving at 35 miles an hour through a cloud. It affects them, but not before their momentum carries them onto you. So that's kind of what happened in his case. Momentum carried the bear onto him. He bit him a couple times, swiped him. The stuff started to kick in. He turned around and went away. He thought he was fine. He's like, oh, cool, I survived a grizzly bear attack. And then 10 minutes later, he's walking down the trail, having used his bear spray. Now he's defenseless and turns around, and the bear's coming at him again. Takes him down. He survives. He keeps walking, and the bear came after him a third time. And how that guy survived that, I don't know. But after the first time, used his bear spray, then he's defenseless at that point. So, part of what I'm gonna do, because I'm gonna be spending a whole lot of time out there in the woods, off the beaten path, really, still observing safe distances from these guys, but anything can happen when you're in their backyard. So, you've got the one can of bear spray that's on you and readily accessible. Have an extra one in my pack so that if something happens and I've got to use it, as soon as that bear runs away, I'm dropping my pack, putting the next can up there. So I at least got that. If I go through 2 cans of bear spray between that incident and the vehicle, then I've got a sidearm on me. So that's been, one of the things that I've been doing a lot here the last month or so is getting a lot of range time in with my pistol, and trying to get that muscle memory back and so forth. So it's going to be, it's a lot of fun. Actually, going to go out to a friend of mine's property in the morning and go out and shoot again. Got a whole stack of 500 rounds on the shelf back there behind me. Hey, we're going to run through that. And you may think, you hear a couple different trains of thought. Actually, some people say, "Oh, it's a handgun. It's not even going to touch it," and other people say, "Well, yeah, it's so easy to kill a bear with a gun," but it's really not, because you figure if you're lucky, you might have 30, 50 feet of warning before this 500-pound thing starts charging at you at 35 miles an hour. And if you're going to stop them, you've got to hit their head, somewhere in their head, into their spinal column or something like that. You got to disrupt that. So you've got like a volleyball sized target coming at you at 35 miles an hour, bounding up and down. And you might have a second or two to get some rounds on that thing before you're toast. So it requires a whole lot of practice to get that kind of muscle memory. So yeah, we're definitely burning some rounds, because one thing I'm not going to do is go out without a fight. The last thing I want to do out there is to kill anything. Like I said, that's why we're going overboard on the bear spray. Going to be really careful to respect their boundaries and avoid any kind of conflict with them. And there's going to be techniques about stuff like that we'll go into as well in future videos. We talk about bear safety when you're out doing photography. It's really important stuff to talk about. I know it's most people that do wildlife photography are animal lovers. That's why we go out and do it. We love wildlife. We love the animals and so forth. So the idea of having to kill something when you go out is just, beyond most people. And, it's like I said, it's not something I ever want to have to do, and use every means at my disposal to avoid it. But if you're going to be going out and you're going to be spending that much time in that environment, sooner or later, you're going to have an encounter. And if it goes bad, then, it's you or the animal. And so anyway, that's kind of what I've been working on while I'm here, getting ready to go. Plus, when it comes time to start leading tours and things like that, I'm going to have, a handful of people that are in a vehicle with me. If we're getting out to look at stuff or take photos or something like that, then, I've definitely got to be able to protect them as well. So, like I said, bear spray may not always be an option. It may not be available. You may have already used it and on your way back. But anyway, so as you can tell from me rambling on about it, that's something that I've been giving a lot of thought. Let's see. Oh, let me run through these comments real quick. All right. Yeah, Rachel took in our super dwarf retic, who has been doing really well out there. I was really happy to see her take it. So far it's been a lot of folks, from the channel and friends that have taken any animals so far. And the Apollo and the Tegu and Athena, the younger Burmese python, went to another friend of ours who does animal education work up in Virginia. So really happy to see them with them. Um, and then we've got actually the other two are both friends of the channel as well that we're going to be shipping out Monday. So it's really good to see. Uh, so yeah, I'm glad that Calato is doing good. She's in really good hands. Let's see. Yeah, Benji was saying a Scary Bear Attacks is a good channel. Goes into the history of them and includes all species. Yeah, polar bears. That's a no go. I have no desire to go into polar bear territory. Those are the worst. Let's see. Tara, good to see you. You made it. So, God, what else have we got here? So, I kind of like to get some feedback from everybody. Because, like I said, we're still gonna have the reptile content up here. I mean, I'm not deleting the YouTube channel or nothing. Not going to be taking down any of the snake videos. And based on kind of what we talked about so far, what kind of stuff do you think would be good transitions for folks? If you've got any specific topics of videos that you'd like to see out there, stuff like that, by all means, throw your suggestions down into the comments there and let me know. Because I mean, there's going to be no shortage of ideas of things to do, but still want to, the folks that have hung out with the channel and stuff for years, I still want to, do as much stuff as I can to keep all those folks engaged. See, yes, it has been a while, and yes, we're okay. We're better than okay. What prompted my move, and will I have reptiles in my life? We kind of touched on that already in the beginning, but just to answer your question is, for the time being, it's impossible to say what the future holds. I may end up getting into a position where things are really amazing, and I end up, where I can take in some more reptiles again, and maybe start doing some of the stuff that I've wanted to do over the years and just haven't been able to. But for right now, all the animals are going to be rehomed. We're down to 5 right now. Excuse me. And that's something that's really important too. I need to touch on that because as of right now, like I said, I've got 5 animals left that need homes. And I have 1 week to get homes for these guys, to get them sold. I've got a couple different options for kind of last resort. People I can give them to, they'll take them. But the thing is that I am trying to sell this entire collection because the proceeds from those sales is what's going to help me facilitate my move out there. Financially, it's not been great. I got caught up on some bills before, this month when I had my last day of work at this job. And right now it's just a skeleton budget to get out there, get everything set up before this new job starts. It'll be making pretty decent money, but even still, I need to get as many of these animals actually sold as possible. Since I don't breed, I don't sell animals. It's all been research on what the prices are. I haven't followed any of that. So I've just, doing my best to put fair market values on them and telling people saying, hey, this is my best, it's my best approximation of how much it's worth. I'm open to discussion, make a deal. What are you offering? And so forth. because this is, like I said, the proceeds from all this is what's facilitating me getting out there, and being able to eat and keep a roof over my head while I'm getting set up and getting the job started and whatnot. Um, so yeah, I'm in Central North Carolina, and I've got a 16-foot male retic, an 18-foot female retic, a 6 to 7 foot Nile monitor, a 10-foot retic, and of course Bob is taken care of. Um, I'm still, if somebody comes up to buy him, then cool. I'll definitely sell him because, like I said, definitely need the funds to help me get out there and get started. But worst case scenario is I have a place for him to go. Um, but so yeah, if you guys are in North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, maybe into Tennessee, West Virginia, those areas, some places it's a reasonable drive, um, and interested in taking on one of the last 5 animals that I've got left, I could definitely facilitate, driving them up, because I'm not going to ship a 80-pound animal. It's just not feasible. It's going to cost a lot to ship that big of an animal to somebody, cross country or something like that. But my favorite one that I have here is my 18-foot female retic. She is, I've raised her since she was a baby, and she could fit entirely on my arm. And she's been working educational events with me, with kids, and is just a complete gem to work with. Sweetest animal. Uh, really super mellow, really big. Um, and she is great to work with. And I really want to see her get to a good home. Um, yeah, and it's hard to part with her. I've kind of seen this coming for a long time, and it's something I've been getting myself mentally and emotionally prepared for. But it still sucks. Um, I'm not gonna sit here and it sucks. They've been a big part of my life for a long time, and it's a hard decision, not one that I've come to lightly, but um, it's a decision that had to be made. So let's see. Sam was asking what happened to Charlie. Charlie passed. Um, Charlie actually died on election night this last year. Um, so that was a sad time too. Um, he was one of my favorite animals as well. And yeah, so that was sad. I miss him. He was he was older and a rescue from a house fire, and he'd had some issues going on. Really had to dump him full of antibiotics and stuff when I first got him. Um, his lifespan was just I think maybe cut short, and I'm also not sure how old he was when I had him. So, but he lived out a good life. He was a happy boy. I know Christine is. Christine really loved that animal too. I remember uh, one of our first events. She was out there, and just her and Charlie were attached to the hip. So let's see. Let me see. Gonna kind of roll through here and see if I. Yep. Yeah, Christina knows. She's been to the events where we've had Monty, our big 18-foot female retic at. She's just the sweetest animal. And I get this question too. Benji was asking, why don't I just keep her only? A couple reasons. One is that I'm starting over on a skeleton budget, and what I can fit in my Toyota 4Runner, moving 2,000 miles away to arguably the coldest climate in the lower 48 states, to a rental in what is the most expensive place to live per capita in the country, to start a new job. And I'm doing this in August, which gives me a couple months of decent weather before we start getting into wintertime. And in the wintertime, it gets down to 30 below out there sometimes. The Jackson Hole, Rockies, out in Yellowstone area, that place has absolutely brutal winters. And I am in no position to be taking any kind of reptile out there in something that I don't already have established environments for them. It's just not feasible. It puts the animals at risk. Also have a hard time finding a rental. One thing that's really common in that area is you'll see a lot of folks, sharing houses out there, renting rooms in houses, having shared space and all that. And you just, somebody's already got a couple of dogs running around. You can't say, well, I'm bringing an 18-foot reticulated python with me, and let's hope for the best. It's just a no-go. For me to take any reptiles out there with me to this, not only would it be unfeasible, it'd be irresponsible from a keeper's perspective. One power outage in a house in the middle of winter out there, and you don't already have something established as an immediate backup, animals are dead. And I can't focus on rebuilding. I'm starting from scratch out there. I can't focus on rebuilding my life and doing what I need to do in order to get reestablished, and still be tied to that one spot like that. And have those kind of concerns. Even if I had something set up and I'm out on a 3-4 day expedition or something through the parks, I leave the first day, I don't have cell phone service out there or something, power goes out, backup fails, every animal in the house is dead. It's just not a good situation. So, and this is one of the things that we talked about on a channel too, when we're talking about keeping reptiles. You hear a lot of people saying, oh, this person shouldn't have them, that person shouldn't have them. Well, sometimes, you can be a highly skilled reptile keeper and know what you're doing and really love your animals and reach that point where it's like, I shouldn't have them. And that's where we're at. That's just the move that I'm making. Is just not a good situation to be taking reptiles into. Like I said, maybe down the road, my love for reptiles is not going to go away. Maybe down the road when I get rebuilt and get to a place where I've bought a house and I know I'm here for good, and I'll have the funds to make sure all my emergency stuff's in place, all my generators and all that stuff is all good to go, so that if anything happens out there, and I've got space to build the enclosures that I want to, then absolutely, I may get that put together, and I may, get a couple reptiles again. But in the meantime, definitely a no-go. Definitely a no-go. So, yes, we still have Bob. Bob is still here. And, yeah, I know if nobody buys him for, anywhere close to what he's worth, then I know he's going to an awesome home. But we will see. I'm thinking that by next weekend, if somebody hasn't purchased Bob, then he'll be with some really amazing folks. So, Oh yeah, Chloe. Chloe is another one that went to that other reptile educator up in Virginia. That sucked too. Um, for years, she sat right over my shoulder there, and I'd come home from work, sit here, flip the cage open, and let her just come out and wander around. It's yeah, there's something else. So, oh yeah. I was talking with Erica the other day, and she's also made a pretty big move. So it's yeah, she kind of relate to where I'm at here. And he was saying that one of the things I love is we always put the animals first. I mean, like I said, man, it's hard to do, but life happens. We don't. I'm gonna venture to guess that anybody that's sitting here watching this video right now is one major life event away from having to make major life changes. You know, loss of a job, an injury, um, car accident, anything like that. Um, the way the way this country is there's not a whole lot of safety nets. If you're not already set up and planned ahead for everything, any number of things can completely turn your life upside down. Um, so it's just one of those things, man. When you keep animals, especially if you keep a lot of them and you've got a big responsibility, um, then you know when and if something like that happens in life, you've got to have the presence of mind to know when it's time to get out. Um, I could sit here and fight tooth and nail to keep every one of these animals and just spend my entire life focused on doing nothing but working in a job that's freaking miserable, being miserable, not having time to do anything at all, and you know, just keep the animals. The end result is the animals get neglected. You don't spend the time with them. Every passion in your life starts to fizzle out, and before you know it, you're one step away from punching your own ticket because you're wasting your life. And that doesn't do any good for the animals, doesn't do any good for anybody else. um, we get one chance to go around in this life, and when it gets to the point where you're just so unhappy that it doesn't feel like um, it's even worth it to keep going like that, you got to change it. um, I mean, that's all there is to it. And you know this particular case, it involves finding good homes for these animals. um, a lot of these that I have left of these five, I could have probably already had gone. But when I first put this out there, I had several people contact me about the big snakes and the Nile monitor, both. But um, that I could tell just from speaking with them that they weren't ready. They weren't capable handlers that I would trust with them, especially Niles. A snake like Monty, as long as you know basic handling, and you've got a good enough enclosure for her, and you're careful around feeding time, and you know how to read her behavior and take her out, and you got a strong enough back where you're not going to blow out a disc trying to move her. She's something that anybody can handle. Um, and she's an 18-foot, 80-pound snake. Niles, on the other hand, is one that he is like enclosure changes. Even here, the 3 enclosure upgrades he's had in his life, every time I did that, he got completely turned upside down. Um, I couldn't go in there without getting tail whipped. If I got close to his mouth, he was trying to bite me. And it took a long time to work him through that. Each time I did an enclosure change with him. And now he's doing good, but he's still just such an energetic Nile monitor. Um, it wasn't, but several months ago, he ended up biting me in the wrist. Um, I went in there and I was giving him the benefit of the doubt, just kind of letting him doing his thing. And he's just like, okay. And he got on, and we had to wrestle around for a minute, and I got him off, and sprayed some Listerine on my arm, and we're all good. But that happened because I was just giving him the benefit of the doubt. It'd been a long time since he bit, and I was like, well, we'll see what happens. Well, that's what happened. So, anybody that's going to take him in has got to really be an expert handler with monitors, or they're going to get themselves hurt. My 16-foot purple tiger retic, he's not an educational event animal. I've had him out to one reptile show where I did a talk on reticulated pythons, just kind of showing how big they are. Because, you see everybody at reptile shows, you get the little tiny, curled up reticulated pythons in a dish. A lot of people get them not realizing how big they're going to get. So I took my two biggest retics out and, just kind of did a talk on that at a reptile show. And being a 16-foot male, he's one of the biggest males I've ever worked with. So I wanted to show everybody, just because you're getting a male retic doesn't mean it's going to be a small snake. Doesn't mean it's not going to be a potentially dangerous snake. When I first got Tigger, he was 12 feet long, hated people, and it took me a couple months before I could really comfortably work with him. But ever since then, he's been a peach. He hasn't tried to bite me, anything like that. I've had him outside multiple times and always working with him and all that. But he's a male and he's really energetic. And if you're not really confident working with big snakes, he'll scare you. He will look like when you go into his enclosure, he doesn't want to be messed with. There's a certain way you got to approach him, get him moving, get him pulled out, and he'll confuse you if you're not, if you don't know him. Seen him make a lot of people nervous before. So, but anyway, the long and short of that is that, I've had some people that I've turned down for the animals. If somebody sends me a message and, it's like an 18-year-old kid and he's running around with his shirt off all the time on all his profile pictures and trying to look like a hard ass, he's just he's all ego. And that's one of the things that I just hate to see is people that get big snakes for their own ego and they want to show everybody how much of a badass they are because, look at me, I got this giant snake, and not in it for the animals, and the animals ultimately gonna suffer for it, so stuff like that. If I don't see some level of maturity and understanding of the animals, and they're not going. So, which is another, it's another reason why I never got into selling any kind of animals, because this whole process so far of selling these animals, I couldn't do this for a living. No way. I couldn't have somebody contacting me and going, I want to buy this, because half the time I'd probably be saying, I'd have a conversation with them and see if they know what they're doing, realize that they don't, and not sell it to them and starve to death that month. So, but anyway, let me see if I can't catch up on some of these. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't gonna say this until I knew Christina wanted to put out there. But yeah, Christina has been a longtime friend of ours. She's an amazing keeper, really an amazing person. And if Bob doesn't sell, then she is going to be taking Bob, which would be really cool. And I almost want Bob not to sell so that I can send her over there, because I know they'll have a lot of fun working with him. So, let's see. We're missing birds. Oh, Alex, how you doing, man? See ya. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. I know. I have this thing that I do, and you don't see too other many people doing this on their live streams. I like to read every comment and try and um, if there's any specific questions and stuff like that, I try to address them all. Um, Try to interact. So if I'm sitting here and it looks like I'm staring off into space, I'm just kind of getting one track mind and looking at the comments to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Let's see. Uh, yeah. So, okay. What else is going on besides storming outside? There's thunder. Oops. Uh, let's see. Oh, another thing I'm going to be doing is like I said, my goal when I get out there is going to be to really liven the channel up and start putting a lot more content out on a regular basis. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit of a shift and niche and topic, whatever you want to call it. But it's going to be good. And as part of that, I'm going to continue building up I'm going to start putting a lot more work into the Patreon and so forth. Uh, get that built back up. And um, so we'll see how everything goes moving forward. It's kind of funny because one of the things that was the biggest challenge for me, like the last year of the channel, was just not having enough to work with. It would be really amazing if I had like a whole zoo here that I could mix up the content and stuff like that and have room to get other people involved and get the big animals out and stuff like that and really put out some good content like that. If I had a place like Jay, a prehistoric pets had or something like that, instead of spending all my time getting clicks, pissing off the snakes, I'd be able to bring people in and do handling coaching and stuff like that. Um, but where I'm at right here, it's just not feasible. And, like I said, once you've talked about the same topic 3 times, hitting it again is really kind of counterproductive. Um, Even though, we've got like our inner circle of Intrepid Exotics folks that, have kept in contact and all that stuff through these last several months. But, yeah. So anyway, with that being one of the things that was a limiting factor, that's no longer a limiting factor because I have this massive area where we go into one of the most scenic places on the planet. And there's going to be no shortage of content, no shortage of things to talk about, no shortage of things to cover and show and experience. So I guess this is kind of a pivotal moment to see how far I can actually take it. I've been I've been watching as many like National Geographic documentaries and things like that lately about the park and just kind of seeing how people do their cinematography and how they tell the stories. And I'd really like to be able to get up to that level. And it's well within reach. Just going to take some time and some practice and so forth. But I'm I'm looking forward to getting out there and getting started. That is for sure. Um, let's see. Alex is asking, what species am I most excited about seeing in Wyoming? This is, as photographers, I think we all get these bucket list shots stuck in our head. Before we ever get them, we always get the picture stuck in our head of what we want to find and what we want to capture out there. when I first got started, one of my bucket list shots that I really wanted to get was an osprey just about to break the water with its claws coming in before it snatched something. Um, and you get that shot, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to sit out here until I find these bald eagles, and I'm going to get them doing the same thing, or I want to catch a couple of them fighting, or something like that. And then you get that shot, and you keep. For me, it was a progression into bears. I went out to Alligator River and hung out with the black bears for a while and got some fantastic stuff from there. Now, the picture that I've got in my head right now of the Teton Yellowstone area is I would really love to be able to capture just being in a position where there's two grizzlies in a river with white caps behind them, them fighting over territory or food or something like that, and just be able to catch that fight with the Tetons in the background in the middle of a river. Um, that's that's my next bucket list shot. Um, so I'm really thinking that the grizzlies are going to be one of my favorite subjects. Um, I'm going to spend a lot of time at some point too, trying to follow the wolf packs. And um, for the people that are out there that follow and document all these things, a lot of these animals are all radio collared. They've got names. The locals out there who go out and do a lot of photography, they know the bears by name. In a lot of cases, the wolves as well. So it's not like I'll be doing anything necessarily groundbreaking that nobody's ever done before, but I am going to try and put my own personal spin and perspective on stuff, and try and do stuff that's going to have some use from an educational standpoint, and kind of tie it into current issues that we can generate support for and get people to help attack some of the issues that are going on with them right now, just to kind of help defend them, and defend the ecosystem out there. We got this whole skill set developed. There's no better way to spend the rest of my days than trying to do something good with it. And people are gonna fend for ourselves. People are gonna have the lives they deserve, but the animals that are left that we haven't destroyed the habitats of already. We definitely need to be aware of what's going on and adjust our lives to preserve what we've got left. You definitely can't be doing something like opening the damn national parks up to development and cutting into their habitat out there too, because that's one of the last places on Earth for some of these animals. That goes away, they go away, and they don't deserve that. So, but let's see. Oh, Laura. Oh, yeah. Laura was asking if Patreon's back up. I know. As far as the Patreon goes, I've had that the whole time for the channel. And honestly, what a lot of that interaction was is we had the Patreon Zoom meetups and stuff like that, where folks that supported the channel we'd all get together and talk and stuff like that after the live streams. And I hadn't done a whole lot. There's merch available for the Patreon members. But as far as putting out any special content and stuff like that, I haven't done that. So, like I said, part of this whole move, when I get out there and I've got my time to devote to this, I definitely want to start putting some stuff on the Patreon page. And I do know one thing, and this is going to be contingent on how well everything goes. I'm not going to go into numbers of the job, as far as the financials and stuff like that. But it sounds like I'm going to be able to do fairly well out there. and it is also an area where there's like the highest concentration of millionaires and billionaires in the country. Um, there's a lot of funds available out there. Um, if I attract people to the channel that are on board with what I'm doing, and we're actually doing something, and we're doing some good, then it's not, it's not beyond the imagination that we could maybe get some big donors on board, um, and things like that. So, in the event that it does take off the way I'm thinking it could, that I'm going to shoot for, um, I want to be in a position where I can, go onto the Patreon and do a drawing or something like that. And okay, cool. You know, you win the lotto. Here's airfare. Come out, hang out with me for a week, tour Yellowstone, come chase grizzly bears around the mountains with me. For the Patreon community and stuff like that, say, hey, go ahead and plan yourself a week off work and we'll go do a photography tour through Yellowstone. And, I want to be in a position where I can do stuff like that. Just, send somebody plane tickets from time to time. And just be able to take people out and share experiences in a place like this with them. I just think that would be really cool. And, the success of, between the job and the channel and the Patreon and all of that stuff is going to facilitate things like that happening. And it's, I'm the type of person where I don't get excited about anything. I've had a lot of plans go through and achieved a lot of cool things. Also had a lot of plans in my life fall through. I'm not anticipating this falling through. I feel like it's pretty planned out for the most part. I feel pretty secure. Feel pretty secure in a place. Sounds like a good job. I'm really confident in my ability to up the game on the channel and get more attention, get more ad revenue and stuff through here. I'd really like to build the Patreon and all that as well. That is a huge help. So I'm confident that we're going in the right direction here. That being said, I don't get overly excited about anything until it happens. But I will say that this is the most excited I've been in years, decades, I'll say. Honestly, if I had to compare this to an experience, it would probably be my very first time going to Special Forces selection. When I was prepping to go to that, the scale of what I was doing, that energy and passion for it is really what I can compare this to. This going out here to an area like this, doing the kind of work that I'm going to be doing, and being able to pursue the other things. It's exciting. It's tempered right now only with the fact that I haven't sold these last 5 snakes. And as soon as that happens, I'm going to be able to sleep a little bit easier and I'll be a little bit better prepared going out there. But I've got plans. I've, contingency plans, and I think this is going to be a really good move. If I didn't, I wouldn't be jumping in with all feet, with both feet, because like I said, we're loading up what can fit in the 4Runner and starting over 2,000 miles away. It's an exciting time. There's always that anxiety of all of the things that are still left to do. Anyway, let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna run through some of these things. I know I'm catching up here. Yeah, I'm excited to see the photography that's coming too. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with what I've been able to accomplish out here in the middle of North Carolina. I cannot wait to get out to a place like Yellowstone and just start going nuts and seeing what all we can capture. Um, uh, yeah, it should definitely be, and it's really tough too. Like there's I want to post some kind of pictures of the place out there to kind of let people see what we're moving towards, but um, I've got a problem with posting pictures that I didn't take, and since I haven't been there yet, I haven't taken any pictures. I do have one other photographer that's out there who was kind enough to let me use a couple of her photos for thumbnails and stuff like that. Kim, a photographer out of Phoenix. Uh, yeah, I've got her on the last video that we put out. Got her tagged in it. So she does some really awesome work. But matter of fact, I think she's out there right now. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing videos on the wolf population. I'm going to be doing. See, this is one thing that, as I've learned more about the history of the park out there, the wolves saved the entire freaking park. Um, and I know it's counterintuitive, and I know a lot of, maybe a lot of the local ranchers out there are going to hear something like that and want to shoot me. But my understanding of the history of that entire situation out there is that by like 1920, park rangers killed the last wolf that was in the Yellowstone area. When they did that, the elk population grew and they became stationary. When they did that, they were decimating some of the vegetation, eating all of the willows, and the willows is what the beavers feed off of. As the beaver population declined, they stopped building beaver dams, and it affected the water flow out there. And so I mean, you're losing wetland area, you're losing fire breaks because of the limited wetlands, you're losing vegetation from overgrazing from the elk population and things like that. So the whole place started to suffer from that. And then in the 90s, when they reintroduced the wolves from Canada, they brought these. I want to say it was like 24 or something like that. They released some wolves, and then they actually brought in a couple dozen beavers and cut them loose out there as well. Later, after the fact, I think it was the wolf introduction was first. And what happens is once the predators are out there again, they're chasing the elk. The elk aren't stationary anymore. They're moving all over the park. So they're not just sitting in one spot, eating all of the vegetation. Now they're back to migrating around that particular area. It's better on the vegetation, and anything that's better on the vegetation is better on everything else that depends on that. The beavers come back. They reintroduced some additional ones out there. They started building dams. It starts, spreading out like a marshland and stuff in that area, which is a bigger fire break because, of course, the fire's not going to burn across a big wetland area. Songbirds, all of that other stuff, everything associated with the wildlife starts to come back. So the recovery just from bringing those wolves back there was huge. And it's a real interesting story. And I look forward to being able to tell stories like that when I get out there through the lens of the camera that I'm recording this on right now, not just, sitting here talking head stuff or pulling up somebody else's. I want to be able to go out there and follow myself, this wolf pack for days and days and days and days, and just watch what they do, watch how they interact. And tell those stories as close to through the eyes of those animals as I can. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, and we're definitely gonna have some wolf stuff on there. Wolves, of course, one of my favorite animals. And I think every animal out there has got a dozen similar stories to the one I was just talking about with the wolves. So there's no shortage of things to really dig into. Eric was asking if we could see, but yeah, I'll pull Bob out in a minute. Actually, I think what I'll do is I'm going to get caught up on the comments real quick, and then I'm going to run over to the bathroom because I've been sitting here down in coffee like it's going out of style because that's what I do. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. I'm going to die with a coffee cup in my hand. Let's see. I'm going to run through here. Oh. Yeah, watch out for moose. Yeah, that's something that I'm seeing a lot. Anytime you look up anything on Yellowstone anymore, you're seeing the tourists out there doing dumb shit around the animals, getting too close to the bears, getting too close to the bison. There's been a couple of really bad gorings out there of people getting too close to the bison turning around and just taking them out. Same thing with the elk. Um, that's another thing that I'm going to spend a lot of time going into too, is just safety around the park. That's something that we're going to have to, like when I'm doing the tours and I take people out, that's something that we're going to have to brief everybody on and make sure, there's, there's guidelines. If we're out and we get out of the vehicle for any reason, I don't want any of the people that are with me to be wandering off towards a mother bear and her cubs or something. Because I'll end up with an extra seat in the truck. And that won't be bad, or that won't be good. So safety is going to be a big thing that I talk about out there. It's even something that I observed out here in eastern North Carolina, being around these big black bears, even as docile as they are, even as used to seeing people as they are, and even as non-predatory as they are towards people. There was still times where there'd be a big male or something, and I'd pull up to them and I would make sure that my car door was open and I was like a 1 second run to getting into my vehicle with the windows already rolled up, just in case. So yeah, safety is going to be a big thing that we talk about on there. Let's see what else. Alex was asking if I've heard of Casey Anderson. That name sounds familiar, but I can't place it. Let's see. Yeah, Sam is talking about the cougars out there. There are cougar populations out there too, but cougars are, my understanding, pretty difficult to actually get eyes on. They tend to be a little bit more reclusive and sneakier. And it's really funny because in my research of this whole area, I've seen drone footage where you'll see somebody walking down the trail, and 20 feet away from them in the brush, you see a cougar just kind of cruising around watching them. And it probably happens more times than anybody realizes, that goes out and walks the trails in the wilderness out there, where maybe cougars, bears, wolves, whatever. Most of the time they try to stay away from people, so they're probably within range, and people don't even know it. So it's one of the reasons why safety is such a huge concern, especially for me. I'm going to try my best to always have somebody to go out doing my photography with. But I know there's going to be times where I'm going to be out in the woods alone. So there's things that you got to take into consideration. As far as fields of view when you're out in the woods, staying away from places where you guys all know, you get out in the woods, you can see a trail that's maybe 10 feet wide, but the brush is so thick on either side of it, you can't see through it, which means, you could be 15 feet away from a 500-pound grizzly bear and her cubs and not know it until she's already airborne, getting ready to land on your head. So, rare as stuff like that may be, it's still something to take into consideration. There's things you can do, like making noise all constantly and letting them know that you're there and things like that. But I mean, for me, it's really going to be a matter of being really tactical about the paths through the woods and stuff that I choose. So I'm making sure that I've got a field of view so that I can see if something's coming at me. I've got time to at least draw bear spray and get some of that stuff in their face, so I don't get eaten. But yeah, I mean, that's the same thing for cougars, bears, wolves, bison. same thing. Um, a bison will kill you just as quick as a bear. 2,000 pounds of, you know, 2,000 pounds pushing a pair of horns into you. It'd be bad. Uh, let's see. Run through here. Everybody talking about, yeah. Yeah. Ruth and I have been roommates for years. And that's tough too. We've been pretty tight. Um, it's tight. She understands we're doing what we need to do. But she did actually, she's replaced me already. I haven't even left yet. And I'm going to show you what I've been replaced by. I'm just going to do it like this. Yeah, get up there. So yeah, we went down to Lewis Exotics out here the other day and picked up two Quaker parrots. Cool little guys. And so yeah, those are my replacements. And it kind of sucks too, finally, getting birds and I'm getting ready to roll out. But okay. If you guys give me about 2 minutes, I'm gonna run to the restroom, come back, I'm gonna get Bob out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and finish catching up on the comments. I'll be right back. Okay. That changed my whole outlook on life. Let's see. All right. Let me get caught up on these comments here real quick. Yep. I will definitely get some prints out for the holidays. Cool thing about that is there's going to be no shortage of snow where I'm going. That's one thing that I've tried to do out here is in North Carolina is catch some kind of winter scenes and stuff like that. But we get so little snow that it just doesn't work out. But where I'm going, no shortage of snow at all. Yeah, I get, some months ago, we was out doing land surveying, which is what my last job was. Being out in 110 degree heat index, 110 degree heat index and stuff like that, and this humidity in North Carolina. Out all day working on that. I've said more than once that I would much rather be working in 3 feet of snow than 100 degrees. So I'm about to get my wish. Probably, and then some. Oh yeah, Christina was saying day in the life of a tour guide. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get with my future employer here, find out what his policy is on videoing and stuff like that. I don't, I'm sure if you've not everybody that comes along on a tour is going to want to be on camera. Um, some, some employers don't want anything recorded, put out there that they're not putting out themselves. Just to make sure they're protecting their own image, and they don't have employees going out there and going crazy, just doing whatever they want to. So there'll be a little bit of time um, integrating with the company out there, and yeah, we'll see. I really think that at some point that'll be an option, and yeah, that's another thing that's going to be really cool too. While I'm kind of This is the crazy thing about this particular live stream is there's so many things going on. There's so many topics. It's like 500 things going on in my head, and they just all kind of keep popping to the front independently of each other. Then I forgot what I was going to talk about now, so that one just jumped back into the back again. Oh yeah, this is what I was going to say. I already have a print shop set up. Matter of fact, for you guys that haven't seen it yet, I'm going to pull up. That's another thing that's different that I didn't even think to mention until now. I updated the Intrepid Exotics website, and it's going to have to get updated again here over the course of the next couple of weeks. But let me see if I can remember how to do this. What is that? I don't even know if I remember how to share screen. Let me see. The icons for this. Maybe that. Aha, here we go. It's friggin' magical. Window. This window. Share. Okay, cool. So this is the new website that I reconstructed. Kind of when we started to shift more to the photography stuff. Main tabs. I've still got a reptile education tab on here, and I am going to have to update this to kind of be past tense until and if I start doing educational events again, just to make sure that it accurately represents what it is that I'm currently doing. But this actually is Tigger. He's my 16-foot male that I was talking about. So the reptile part's still on there. We've got my photography I'm doing, nature and wildlife, studio stuff, and boudoir, which I started working a little bit in portrait photography and stuff like that too. It's one of those things where I'm trying to be as well-rounded as possible. It all takes different skills. But here's the wildlife portfolio. One of my favorite pictures that I got of the black bear taking a bath out at Alligator River. Another one from Alligator River. This is one of our local bald eagles that hang out with bears, more gators. But yeah, I mean, so far out here, this has been what I've been capturing. And like I said, I'm happy with a lot of the stuff. I've got a lot of good skills out of it. This is another bald eagle that I caught, and I've got a portfolio put together of like just high contrast photos like this. There's one of the black bears, cougar from the zoo. This picture was actually taken through glass, believe it or not. That's from the Carolina Tiger Sanctuary out here. That tiger right there actually used to belong to a magician, and the magician had actually had the 4 front teeth taken out. And I don't know what else was done, but I mean, it was really cruel. The sanctuary ended up taking this tiger in, just a beautiful animal, but it's got to live in captivity for the rest of its life now, just because of what happened to it. Um, so, so anyway, this is like so far a lot of the wildlife stuff that I've been doing, and really love this one with the osprey with the fish and the bald eagle being a jerk and trying to pick it off. But so anyway, that's where we're at with the photography stuff so far. And like I said, man, when oh damn, that's what I forgot to show. Let me share this again. I wanted to show you guys the print store that I've got, so you can get on and order prints. And I've got this on the website too. So if we go to the home screen, um, this very first row right here is some of the different prints you can get. There's a tab right here that takes you to the print shop where you can see everything that I've got listed for print right now. And then I just added these. Each one of these will link right straight to the store where you can go in, order whatever you want. So, that link's bad. I guess I'll have to check that. But this is the actual print shop. You can go and order any number of these. But, let's see. Oh, yeah. Here's some of the, restart this. Here's some of I did add some of the videos on here that I've captured. This was that one picture of this eagle perched on the stump. This was how he got there. I caught him flying over to it. And such a cool capture. The wood ducks out here. I've always wanted to capture wood ducks, and I managed to find one spot where they were at. See a lot of these great blue herons down here at the dam. Catch them fishing all the time. This is one of my favorite videos too. It's so funny because I was sitting across the river from these guys early in the morning. It was a really heavy fog on the river. And when you look at especially when you pull this particular video up, it almost looks like a moving painting. It's just a really cool capture. Yeah, of course. Got to have the bears there. So that was such a fun day hanging out with him. Caught this one. He was right next to me pretty much. And just kind of walked across the log and decided to mark his little tree there and just go on his way. So, but anyway, yeah, that's the stuff that we've been hitting locally. So, wait until I get to start really digging in and perfecting some of this cinematography and some of the backdrops out there. It's gonna be good stuff. Gonna be good stuff. And I am way behind on the comments here. You know what? Nicole was saying she'd like to see all of the things that you can harvest, like edible plants and stuff like that. That's something that I really need to work on. As much time as I've spent in the woods, you think I would know better what can be eaten and what can't be. That's something that I need to start studying up on. For sure. Let's see. Okay. Trying to speed read through the comments really quick. Let's see. Yeah, Alex was talking about going to see gray wolves. Yeah, there are red wolves out here in North Carolina, and up at Alligator River, there's a lot of my photographer friends that capture some really cool images of them out there. I've seen one the time that I was out there, but it was just bolting off the side of the road before sunrise as I was heading out to I was heading out to my photography spot out there. So, oh yeah, that's right. I gotta. Don't let me forget to bring out Bob. Oh. Hey Chase, man, good to see you, buddy. Chase, he's definitely not sitting in Zoom by himself, totally forgetting this was going on. Good to see you, man. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm still, like I said, I still got to get over and get Bob out of the enclosure. I just fed him a couple days ago, so we'll see what his demeanor is. Uh, hey, Gerald, good to see you, buddy. Uh, yeah, Faith makes a good point. Air horns are a good thing to have on hand. Let's see. Oh my God, we're still back at talking about the Quaker parrots. Hey, Bert, you made it. Good to see you, man. Let's see. Back. Oh, yeah. Jennifer was asking about the prairie dogs. Prairie dogs are still here. Prairie dogs are staying with Ruth. So, when I leave, there's going to be 2 prairie dogs, 2 Quaker parrots, and a miniature pincher still hanging out, and a little tiny fish tank. So, okay, I see everybody going and saying Bob. I'm not forgetting. I'm just getting down to the end of the. Okay, here I go. Hey, buddy. How you doing? I know. I know. I know. Come on. Come on. Crazy. Okay, so you're going to go this way. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Took me a minute to get him out. He does pretty good once he gets out, but he does like to be left alone a lot. There you go, bud. Say hello to everybody. There you go. Such a pretty boy. Come on, man. Knock that off. Oh, you're okay. You're okay, bud. Still not as relaxed as I'd like him to be, but he's getting there. Now, for those of you guys that are like catching this for like the first time or something, or don't know Bob's backstory, when I first got this guy, I turned that off. There we go. When I first got him, you couldn't touch him. He would strike at you continually, and musk all over you, and flail around like an absolute madman. And then we did the 10-part series on him. I started recording him the very first time I handled him. So as soon as I opened up the bin to put him in his enclosure, that was recorded, and then the next 10 handling sessions, I didn't cheat. I didn't handle him in between videos or nothing like that. Every time I handled him, it was recorded. Hey, you're really unhappy tonight, aren't you, bud? Here. Do you want me to just shut up so you can talk? I mean, I can do that. Here. What do you got to say? At least he's not biting the microphone. But so yeah, I went through all those 10 handling sessions until I could take him out without getting bit and musked on and all that other stuff. And so I kind of make the joke that he's the only snake that actually comes with his own personalized user manual. So, and he's trying to wrap his tail up under my armpit. There you go, bud. Chill out. Yeah, I've got it recorded. I think it was on a live stream, actually, at some point, where he bit me in the face. Yeah, let's see. He's probably going to want to curl up on a chair back there and just chill out. Either that or he's going to try and go home. I may have to chase him in a minute, but... How you doing, bud? So, yeah. Like I said, for those of you that are new here, Bob's a bit of a celebrity on the channel. And where's he going? All right, let me go get him. Not crazy. Get over there. Yeah. So anyway, now he does pretty good. He's still this is one thing I really like about him is the fact that he is vocal and whatnot, and he'll sit there all assed up like he's getting ready to take a swing at you. But I don't know, man. It just, to me, it's hard to explain. It's almost like it's more respectful to allow an animal to maintain, a little bit of that natural defensiveness or whatever it is, the attitude, spirit, I guess you could say. I just, there's something about him and Tigger both. They've still got that spirit about them. They can come and hang out just like him. He's chilled out now. The long tongue flicks and his neck stretched out. And he's just kind of wanting to find a place to be left alone right now. But I'm not worried about him biting me or anything like that. He didn't strike at me when I was taking him out. Didn't musk on me or nothing. Just like anything else, there's still a chance he might get a wild hair up his ass and decide to put holes in my cheek or something. But he's small enough to where it's not going to be that big of a deal. It was still really funny that day. It was I remember now. God, it was last year sometime. I had him out on a live stream and he was on my shoulder and he was sitting over here looking at me like this. And I looked over and I could tell he just looked like he was getting ready to strike. And I looked over at him. I was like, whatever you do, just don't bite me. As soon as I said that and looked back towards the camera, I go, pew, and pegged me. But that was a while ago. You're a lot more well-behaved now. So, I kind of thought it would be nice to bring Monty up here too and let that big girl make an appearance. But I just fed her my last massive rabbit, so she's got a really big meal on her right now. She's back there taking it easy. Let's see. Would you chill out? A couple more minutes. He'll get to the point here in a couple minutes where he's just gonna kind of sit here and look at everything. He likes to be lazy. Like I said, he just ate a couple days ago, so. Oh, let's see. There he goes. Yep. Now it's time for him to just sit here and chill. All right, bud. Can we get you set up in a way that I don't have to hold you? Here. Sit here like that. And just chill right there. There. Let go of my hand. I'm trying to get him to rest with his head up front so everybody can see him. Of course, the light's right here, so he's going to probably try and stay away from the light. But we'll see. Come on, bud. Over here. Chill out. There he goes. Now he's going to relax for us. Yeah. So this is about the extent of my interactions with Bob. He puts up a little bit of a fight because he wants to be left alone, and then once he comes out, he tries to scare you away for a second. And then when that doesn't work, he just kind of starts wandering around exploring, and then he finally says, okay, cool. Well, I'm just going to hang out and chill out then, because that's what I do. Sri Lankans more arboreal than any other species. No, Sri Lankans were initially classified as like a locality Indian rock python. And they eventually were given their own species. I'm guessing just because of the size difference between Sri Lankans and actual Indian rock pythons. Indian rock pythons are beasts. So these guys are going to get a lot smaller. A parallel to this might be, like locality reticulated pythons. Or you talk about some like super dwarves, as opposed to mainlands. Sri Lankan pythons are kind of like the super dwarves of Indian rock pythons. So, and they're fairly rare. You don't see too many people keeping them. I really had anticipated, as soon as I let everybody know that I was selling the animals, I anticipated more people kind of jumping on saying, hey man, I want to snatch him up, but hadn't been the case. So I said, it is what it is. If nobody snatches him up, he's going to a good home. So he's secured either way. And again, for those of you guys just kind of hanging out here, I'll see if I can find all my pictures really quick. I know I'm going to pull up the photos of the animals that I still have here. And okay. Let me see if I can share the screen. I'm going to share which screen? Not that one. Screen 1, screen 2, screen 3. Screen 4? Oh, yeah. Keep forgetting I got 4 monitors up here because I'm a big nerd. So, of course, pull this up over here. Of course, that's a picture of Bob. He looks like he's smiling there. And that's one of him. Yeah, green tree python has since found a home. Athena, who is back there, has since found a home. That's Jay. Jay came with Bob. Jay and Silent Bob. He's the orange glow phantom, possible het ocelot retic. He's about, I don't know, I'd say about 10 feet long, maybe. He's a good snake. I like him. He's a pretty boy for sure. And that's him poking his head out. I love that look that he gets on his face. It's just, he's got a unique look for a retic. It's the list. That's a photo. This is actually an older picture of Monty. This was taken 2 years ago. So Monty was this big 2 years ago. She's since put on a little bit of size. since then. She's a pretty substantial girl, but I mean, you can see she's there at an educational event, and she is just an amazing animal for stuff like this. She's so tolerant. Um, I mean, ultimately, all of my snakes are tolerant. It's one thing that even surprises me sometimes is that, it's particularly with the bigger snakes, 16, 18 footers and stuff like that. When I take them outside and they start running around the backyard, they'll start trying to go off into the shade oftentimes, or trying to go off into the weeds. And, I can literally, for an entire day, pick them up, throw them over my shoulder, drag them back to the center of the yard. And I can do that. They'll go away. I'll go and drag them back. I can do that all day, and no problems, no aggression, no defensiveness, no fear. They take it all with a grain of salt. Big snakes can be the most tolerant animals ever. And it's really amazing. Because, I mean, you do that with a dog or something like that long enough, and, sooner or later, he's going to turn around, take your nose off. But, so yeah, that's just one of the things that even still to this day always amazes me with these bigger snakes is how, once you build that relationship with them, how trusting and tolerant they are of you. And you want to start cruising around now, huh? So, okay, so we got more pictures. Here's another one of Monty's face. She's such a pretty girl. Hard. Niles is my little handful. And you guys can see those little teeth on Mr. Niles in that picture. He is not shy about using them either. That's a fairly recent picture of him. But that's the enclosure that I've got him in now. It's an 8x8 enclosure. He's got his basking spot over there and a full-size bathtub that's plumbed into it. So all I got to do is turn a valve, drain it, hose it out. I've got my hose downstairs set up to the washer and dryer hot water. So put some warm water in there, fill the tub up for him. It's a piece of cake. Best setup for a monitor lizard ever. I love it. And that, of course, is Tigger. He is the 16-foot male who is, he's a sweet kid, but you had to get to know him. So anyway, those are the animals that are still left to be rehomed. Let's see, crawling back through the. This is a good question. How long do I think Bob will get? I don't know. I could guess, but I don't know. I've had him for a year or two now, and he has not grown a whole lot. He has been growing slowly. And he eats regularly. So I really don't think he's going to get all that big. I can't see him getting twice the size that he is now. So I think he's going to stay pretty small. Yeah. Thinking about, well, see, here's the thing about Jay. I can't say he's het ocelot for certain. When I got him, I was told he was possible het ocelot. So, reliable source. So I can't sell him as an absolute for certain het. So realistically, I've got to sell him as just an orange glow phantom. Where we at? Okay, Sam was saying I needed to make prints of the favorites. Um, I've got. I just showed that it was on the website, the print shop there. I mean, actually, too. I mean, if you guys, another thing. I mean, I a lot of times when I go out and do my photography stuff, um, I'll go out, take pictures, come back, and I'll do them in like low res stuff and post them on Facebook just to share the photos. But I do have all of the raw files still, so I can go back in and do high res prints of anything that I post. Um, if you're looking at something I post on Facebook and you try and zoom in and it's grainy, that's because I don't post high quality pictures on Facebook. Um, and I think even if you do, they downsize them anyway. So it's not like you could, maybe with some of the software you could cheat around it, but um, so yeah, just about any picture you see on my Facebook page, I can find the raw file for it and put it up in the print shop so you can buy prints of it. And I have thought about a calendar for some time. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. Um, but I do know that when I get out there, I want to be able to put together. I'm going to put together several calendars, like um, some for particular species. I have elk calendars and bison calendars and bear and wolf and whatnot, and then maybe have another calendar that's got each season and every animal out there and stuff like that. Like I said, man, the possibilities for some place like Yellowstone are endless. Um, so, and of course, if anybody has any ideas for a good place to produce them, I did look around for a while trying to figure out what my favorite, calendar print store was going to be, and I just couldn't decide. I couldn't decide which one I wanted. So I don't want them to be crazy, stupid expensive, but I also want them to be high quality stuff, you know. So yeah. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, Bob's finally slowed down. He's decided he's just gonna chill out here. Yeah, Arrow's asking. Yes, the merch shop is still up. You can still access the merch shop through YouTube. It should be, unless I'm mistaken. It should still be like underneath uh, all of my videos. There should be like um, a little bar right across that. Amy's here. Hey, how you doing? Good to see ya. Oh man, Amy just asked me how everything is going. Well, it's going well. There's a lot going on, um, and a lot to catch up on. So you just have to go back and start this from the beginning. I go into detail ad nauseum about what's happened, where we're at, and what's going to happen. Um, Long and short of it is if you're just jumping on here and you don't know what's going on, I am rehoming my entire reptile collection. I've sold most of them already. I have 5 left that have to be gone in the next week. One of which is Bob, my Sri Lankan, who's sitting right here. And I am moving to the Yellowstone area to start focusing on nature and wildlife photography, and leading some tours through the parks out there. Is going to be my day job. So a lot's going on, a lot to catch up on. Oh yeah, on the I've got a little spreadsheet section, and I've got the name, the sex, the age, the length, and a description. And the description for Jay, I've got on there that it's possible head ocelot. So oh, I must have missed Jim and Christine are heading out. If you guys are still on, we'll see you guys later. Definitely call and catch up. Okay, hey. Look at me. I'm all caught up on the comments again. So awesome. So I don't know, man. One of the things that I'm thinking about too, I mean, and one thing that, throughout my whole time doing this channel, yeah, clearly we don't do small YouTube channels for the money, because that's just not something that um, comes unless you're a bigger channel. And throughout my life, I've never done anything for money. I've always pursued what interests me. More times than not, it's left me more broke than anything. But um, so greedy, I'm not. But I have thought about maybe one day doing a really long live stream as a fundraiser, because essentially, like I said, I'm leaning on selling these animals to help cushion my landing out there in the Yellowstone area. Right now, I'm good. I can make it. I've got credit cards that I can tap into if I need to in order to hold me over. But man, it would really be great to be able to sell these animals for even half of what they're worth, and have that to help, like I said, cushion the landing out there, just to make sure CYA everything's covered, so that we can really start building right out there and not have to worry about that stuff. So, um, if I could raise an equivalent amount of what the value of these snakes are, then I would just be able to give them to people. Just find the absolute best home that I can, and just hand them off to folks. Which some of them I may end up having to do that with anyway. But yeah, I mean, for anybody watching, if you guys know anybody that is a good keeper, is looking for an animal, like I said, I've got the price list on these guys, but since I don't sell or breed and all that stuff, I'm open to discussion. If somebody tells me that the value is less or more than what I've got on it, then I am not going to argue with them. Yeah, my main concern, like I said, is getting down to the wire. I just need to make sure that these guys have good homes, um, and if I can get a fair price out of them, then that's what I would prefer to do. Let's see. Okay, let's see. In your science, I was asking. I have not found anybody to take the Nile monitor yet. I was talking with, and this is a really screwed up story. See, this is another one of the reasons why I don't want to have anything to do with selling animals. I was approached by somebody out of state, who I don't know. They approached me on Facebook, expressed an interest in Niles, had a lot of experience with animals, had a lot of reptiles, seemed like they would have been really good for them. And I get a message from this person a few days ago or a week ago or something like that, saying that somebody broke into his place, poured gasoline on all of his reptiles, and all but one are dead. What this dude has got going on down there with whoever and what kind of person would do that is beyond me. But, had I sold Niles to this guy and gotten him down there a week ago, that would have been him. I mean, that's just, like I said, man, more power to the people that want to breed animals and sell them. That's all I can say, is that you see a lot more baby Nile monitors on social media and being sold and being carried out of reptile expos than you will ever see pictures and videos with adult Nile monitors. Because I would be surprised if 50% of something like a Nile monitor that gets sold at a reptile expo lives to see adulthood. Same thing with reticulated pythons. I mean, somebody, they may have had ball pythons their entire life, and they see that this little retic is the same size, so they get it.
And again, you see all kinds of people with pictures of their pretty little retics, but you just don't see people with pictures of their larger snakes. Again, it just kind of seems to me like, probably a pretty small percentage, knowing how many reticulated pythons get sold and the mass of some of the breeders put these things out. Again, I would guess that, maybe 50% of them make it to adulthood before somebody kills them. So I don't know, man. It's it's hard. I try and have, I always try and be positive, keep my life completely drama free. Keep good, decent, respectable people in it. But one of the reasons why I stepped away from the channel and the reptile community for so long to begin with is that there's some shady fuckers running around out there, man. Um, there's a lot of people that put on a really good, friendly face to everybody because they want them to buy their animals, but you press them any more than that, and pretty shady. I've met some really shitty people, and it just, I meet a lot of good people through things like the channel and folks that hang out and stuff like that. Um, and I've made some great friends through the reptile community, but I've also met some people that I have had to completely cut off, completely block off of everything, refuse to interact with. Because, like I said, there's just some shady bastards running around out there, and it's sad. Um, what it is, what it is. And I don't want to make this. I don't want to make this about any of that, any of those people. This is all positive, moving forward. But that needs to be said that did play some part and me just getting disgusted with the reptile community in general and stepping back away from it. Um, so, uh, let's see. So anyway, um, let's see. Okay, yeah, Amy's giving me some names here. Nick Lillis, Brian Waterloo. I've heard the name Brian Waterloo before. I know I've talked to Mike Stefani before. Um, I'll see if he's got some connections with somebody that might want to take him to. I don't know why I didn't already message Mike. I should have thought about that a long time ago. I do have Tom Crutchfield looking for me to see if anybody's interested in one of the ones that I've got. So we'll see if we can find that. Yeah. Yeah, I need to. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I'm not even going to try and contact Camp Keenan. Keenan's such an elitist prick. Yeah, if you don't have at least 100,000 subs, he's not even going to talk to you because he's too good for that. But um, uh, Jerry Wolf and Kagan are. I know Kagan. I've worked with Kagan before, and she's awesome. And I'm sure I don't know Jerry, but if Kagan likes him, I'm sure he's a good dude because she's pretty good people. So, but Kagan and I do need to touch base pretty soon. She doesn't spend a whole lot. She is so busy right now because Jerry, I guess, broke his leg. So she's kind of having to pick up the slack with all of the stuff down there. Plus, she started another YouTube channel, which is a fishing channel, which is really cool. So if you get a chance to go check out Fishing with Kagan, that's her new channel. And it was crazy too because she posted she started the channel, posted 5 videos that she already had ready for the channel, and within 17 hours had 1,500 subs. So, and she does really good. They're really well done videos. It's really interesting. Keep your attention. She does some cool stuff out there. Um, so yeah, I looked that up. It's Fishing with Kagan is her new channel. You definitely want to check that out. Let's see. All Okay, let me throw a caveat in here. You know, people say don't know that about Keenan. Well, I'm gonna let me say this. That's my impression. I probably shouldn't have just spurted that out there, but I have tried to contact the guy before. Didn't hear anything, and that's kind of secondhand information that I got from everybody else saying, you know, that guy's this is a trait, and don't even waste your time. So, um, take that all with a grain of salt. Um, I'll go one step further to just say, you know what, just ignore that. I'm talking on my ass. I don't know the guy. Um, that's just my personal impression based on never being able to make any contact or anything like that. And plus talking with a couple people that know him. Your experience may be entirely different. Um, he may be the best guy in the world. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, everything's illegal in Florida. So, Niles and retics and I think berms and tegus now. I don't know that there's too much you can really keep out there anymore. But somehow we've let's see, I started at 7. It is 9:20 now. So we've been on here over 2 hours. And I think I am going to jump off of here and get something to eat and put Mr. Bob back because he's clearly ready to chill out. But I'm going to let him get up here and say goodnight because he is so much prettier than I am. He's such a good boy. Such a good boy. He is such a day and night animal from what he was when I got him. I'll tell you what, man, this whole thing has been difficult, but you know, it's one of those things where months and months of thought have gone into this, and you know, when just like everything else that we experience in life, man, some things are in our control, some things are out of our control. The best we can do is consider everything, make what we believe is the right decision, stick with it, and execute. And once a decision's made, once the plans are put into motion, um, you know, big changes require big risks, require big sacrifices sometimes, and that's kind of where we're at. So I've resigned myself to, you know, this is where we're at with the animals. Um, it's it sucks, but it is what it is, and it's what I've got to do. My main concern, like I said, is making sure that they get good homes, and you know, so again, guys, I'm gonna jump off of here and go stuff my face, put Bob back, and keep an eye out. If you're not friends with me on Facebook, send me a Facebook request to Intrepid Exotics. I get a lot of people sending me requests to the Tim Jackowitz Facebook page, but I'm never on that. I'm always on the Intrepid Exotics Facebook. So catch me there. That's why I share my photos. I've actually got another Facebook page that I can't figure out how to delete because I thought it was a good idea, but it's just confusing. But there's another Facebook page that's an actual business page, Intrepid Exotics Photography. And then there's the Intrepid Exotics Facebook page. So I actually don't spend a whole lot of, I just don't have the mental real estate to do all of these different pages and stuff like that at the same time. I know I need to start working on TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff. But for right now, best way to communicate with me, just regular old Facebook, send me a friend request. If messages sometimes get caught in the spam and I don't get them, you know, do something. But that's the best way to contact me, and especially if you know anybody that's got an interest in the animals, because we're down to the wire. Got to find good homes for them and got to find them quick because a couple of weeks I'm going to be packed up and on the road. So while we get all of this stuff done, it's going to be busy. I'm going to be a little quiet. And then once we get fired up out there, I plan to really put some work into building a channel up and getting things done. So you guys have an outstanding rest of the night and be safe the rest of the weekend. And I'm sure some of you I will talk with soon, and others I will talk with the next time we do this. I'll try and get on and not wait too much longer before I do another live stream and just touch base with everybody, because I miss getting in here and just hanging out with everybody and shooting the shit. It's always fun. You guys are some good folks, and there's been many times you guys the only reason I ever kept this channel up. So much appreciated. And you guys have a good night. I'm going to end it here. I'll catch you later.